Man, what is happening, my YouTube family? Of course, it is your boy B New. I'm coming at you on this Monday. And first and foremost, as always, just want to send out positive vibrations and blessings to anybody who could be listening. As we all know, the NBA playoffs are up on us, and it's one of my favorite times of the year as we get to see all these teams fight it out just so they can have a chance to hold up that Larry O'Brien trophy at the end of the season, you understand me, and get a ring put on their finger to be crowned the NBA champion. And we have a lot of interesting storylines going into this playoffs for this season. Of course, as we all know, the Los Angeles Lakers are not in the playoffs, as we all know, and LeBron James and company are sitting at home. So let's just talk about some of the teams that are in action. And it did break my heart that the Memphis Grizzlies did lose to Minnesota, which I knew was going to be a pretty tough matchup for the Memphis Grizzlies, and we're going to talk a lot about that later on. But right now, I kind of want to focus on the game that took place on yesterday, which was the marquee matchup that was on ABC, involving, of course, the Brooklyn Nets traveling to the Boston Garden, which I still call it the Boston Garden. I think it's the TD, whatever the hell it is, not TD Jakes. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it was a phenomenal game that ended up, you know, with the last play being Jason Tatum being able to make the move in the lane and spin around the defender and finish at the rim with just as the clock expired, which was probably one of the best games in the history of Boston as far as the drama. And we all know the Boston Celtics have had a lot of plays like that lead to the end of the game. Probably one of the most famous ones with Isaiah Thomas throwing the ball away and Larry Bird getting the steal, and we all know how that went down. I think that was in the 87 semis. But at the end of the day, I want to focus on none other than Kevin Durant, because Kevin Durant, in order for the Brooklyn Nets to win this series, he's going to have to step up. Now, as you all know, I'm a big LeBron James fan and enthusiast, but at the end of the day, I understand the greatness of a one Kevin Durant, and I'm ready to see if Kevin Durant can really prove what he can do in the postseason, minus a hell of a team that he had in Golden State. Now, we all know Golden State had the best record ever in basketball before Kevin Durant went and joined them, and it pretty much was a foregone conclusion that they were going to reign supreme in the NBA at that given moment. And of course, that all didn't work out, and Kevin Durant probably should have a three-peat and 3 championship rings, but we all know he was injured, as well as Klay Thompson in the finals against Toronto Raptors. But at the end of the day, yesterday, Kyrie Irving was the one who really stepped up and played a phenomenal game, especially in that fourth quarter. It was basically a Kyrie Irving against Boston Celtics run that pretty much got the Celtics back into the game. Now, if you look at the numbers, Kevin Durant, I want to say, was a -13 for the game, and Kyrie Irving was a +6. Now, you cannot have Kevin Durant playing to where he's a -13 on the floor. But what I noticed was when you had the bench players of a Dragic and a Patty Mills, they was like +15, +17, and really helped get them back into the game. And it makes me wonder if Coach Nash may want to think about at some point moving Kyrie over, you know, to play the 2 position at times on the floor at the same time with Dragic, who could pretty much command the team from the point guard perspective and find open shooters. And one thing, even though Kyrie played a hell of a game, I do want to get on Kyrie about his play towards the end of the game, because at the end of the game, you know, the Nets had really battled back and did what they needed to do, and were up by a point with the last possession, I want to say, with maybe 30 seconds to go, and they knew that, you know, unless they missed and got an offensive rebound, that Boston would ultimately have the last possession of the game. And Kyrie Irving, being the point guard that you are and having the playoff experience that you do and the skill set that you have, you dribbled the ball way too much into the shot clock. And I want to say Horford even came out to bring the double team on you, and you continued to dribble the ball in the paint, trying to break down the defense or whatever you're trying to do. When you had open shooters in the corner that you could have passed it to, you have to be able to trust your teammates in that situation. And that's why I always talk about the greatness of a one LeBron James, because LeBron James always makes the right basketball play, even though a lot of people might not like that. But he dribbled it up, and then by the time he gave it to Kevin Durant, you put Kevin Durant in a very not so good situation with maybe 2 seconds left on the shot clock when you finally kicked it out to him with an out of control pass because the defense was swarming around you, and then you finally decided to give up the ball instead of trusting your teammates and working the ball around like you've been doing the whole game as far as your success as far as coming back and getting yourself back into the game, because I want to say Brooklyn was down as much as 15 or 16 late into the third quarter, if I'm not mistaken. And if you look at the numbers strictly from a number standpoint, where Brooklyn really lost the game was more so on the boards, because all the other numbers were even. So if you take a look at it, you know, the Nets shot, 42 out of 78. The Nets shot 53% from the field. The Nets shot 53% from the field, whereas Boston only shot 47% from the field. And also from three-point line, Boston shot 12 out of 33, whereas the Nets shot 11 out of 24. So, I mean, the Nets shot, 45% from three, whereas Boston only shot 36% from three. So you're talking about 53% and 45% versus 47% and 36%, but somehow the Nets still didn't win the game. And if you look at the turnovers, the points off turnovers, the assists, pretty much everything was even in that regard. But if you look at, like I said, the percentages, the Celtics, pardon me, had 89 shots. Like I said, it was 42 out of 89, whereas the Nets only had 78 shots. So you're talking about that's 11 more shots. And that didn't really come off the turnovers, as I was saying. That didn't come off of the turnovers because the turnovers were about even. And that really came off of the rebound. And if you look at the rebound, and they out-rebounded them 43 to 29. They got demolished on the boards. I know Drummond didn't play a lot of minutes, you know, just because he really couldn't, because once the Celtics really started going small, and, you know, in the absence of, you know, they played a lot of Grant Williams, in the absence of Reggie Williams, who we know who was hurt and probably won't be back for this series, hoping they can get him back maybe by next series. But if he had been playing, then I really think that the Celtics would really dominate this series with Robert Williams, because without Robert Williams, the Celtics still are dominating the rebounds. And as we all know, Robert Williams damn near was part of the damn the 90 club. You know, y'all know what I'm talking about. The 50-40-90 club, as far as shooting 40% from three, shooting 90% from free throw, and shooting 50% from the field. And I think if the Celtics did have him, then it'll be pretty much a sweep. But at the end of the day, they don't. And that's why I feel like the Nets are going to have a chance. And ultimately, I still feel like the Nets are going to pull out this series because I just don't think Kevin Durant, I think he is that guy. I want to see him be able to prove himself to be that guy because he is a phenomenal player. And pretty much he spent a lot of his career with Westbrook. And we know Westbrook, highly athletic, but wasn't the best floor spacer. And, you know, Westbrook was more the alpha male on the team and demanded the ball more and took over in key situations. Then, of course, Durant went to another team where Draymond was more the alpha male on the team, even though he wasn't an offensive threat. But we all know how that situation went down. So now, you know, Kevin Durant has dealt with some injuries. So now we got to see if he really is that guy. He says he is the assassin. So we saw him shoot yesterday, 9 out of 24. He took the most shots of everybody on the team, but yet you end up being a -13 for the game. And then Tatum pretty much was having his way at times with you. So, you know, we got to look at it like this. Everybody who always give LeBron James hell. Yeah, my bad. I don't know why the hell my phone storage kept running out. I got plenty of storage. I think because somehow my daughter was, you know, upgraded my phone to 4K front camera. And, you know, I don't really need a 4K front camera because then y'all really going to see how ugly I really am. So, yeah, let me switch back to this HD. So like I was saying before, my apologies for that. But as I was saying before, that's what, if you stop and really think about it, the greatness of a one LeBron James, because, you know, Kevin Durant, I need to see you prove that you are that guy, because we all know when LeBron James went to Cleveland in that third year, in that fourth year, Kyrie left. And Kyrie went to that same Boston team. And we know, lo and behold, who did LeBron James face? That Boston team. And we all know what happened. Now, that Boston team pretty much has the same core that Boston team has now. If you look at it, they had Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and Al Horford. So all four of those players played a key role for the Celtics' success then and for the Celtics' success now. And, of course, we know then they did have Terry Rozier, who was playing great basketball as well as a point guard for the Celtics in the absence of Kyrie because Kyrie was injured. But we all know how LeBron James dominated their series and led them to a 7-game victory, even after being down 0-2, if I'm not mistaken. And not only that, the absence of Kevin Love in Game 7, who had got a concussion in Game 6, if you remember. So it was basically LeBron James, Jeff Green and company. So if LeBron James, Jeff Green and company was able to beat pretty much this same Celtics team, albeit they were a little bit younger, but still had the same talent and was able to propel himself to the finals, then surely Kevin Durant, with the likes of a Kyrie Irving, as well as a Patty Mills, who is a great shooter, and a Seth Curry, who is a great shooter, and Brown, who is a great defensive presence, and a Drummond, who is a great paint presence as far as rebounding, if they can be able to lead them past that victory. So I'm looking to see if Kevin Durant can do the same thing that LeBron James, that we see him do so many times, and I think so many people take for granted what he was able to do. And people think, well, you just reached the finals, or you won an accomplishment. Well, he was taking out the Toronto Raptors, that was #1, who had a great record. With the likes of a DeMar DeRozan and a Kyle Lowry, who was playing great. So with all this being said now, Kevin Durant, you now have the opportunity to prove yourself. You are healthy. Are you that guy? You have a Kyrie Irving on your side. Now, I dare anybody to say this, even LeBron James, with this age and where he is right now in his career, still averaged 30 points for this season. Now, if you take Russell Westbrook off of the Los Angeles Lakers and you insert a Kyrie Irving, even y'all haters in the comments, I want haters in the comments too, but I want y'all to tell the truth, haters. What would the record be for the Los Angeles Lakers had Kyrie Irving was with LeBron James? And I do hate that Kyrie Irving left LeBron, because I think they could have made a great duo and LeBron James could have passed the keys to Kyrie, but yet Kyrie could not take being in the spotlight of a LeBron James and being asked the questions, which I know had to irritate the hell out of him, because he knew he was a great player in his own right. And Kyrie was just as much as part of that comeback against the Golden State Warriors as LeBron James. And I think he probably felt LeBron gets all the credit. LeBron gets all the credit. It's probably what he felt. And that's why he said he was in the win, and he saw what Kevin Durant had went to Golden State. So he knew, like, hey, we're probably not going to be able to beat this team unless we make some additions. But at that time, he didn't really want to be in the shadow of LeBron James anyway. So we all know how the rest of that story went. At the end of the day, whether people know it or not, I am a fan of Kyrie Irving. I think he has a great game. I think he got some of the best handles, really the best handles that this game has ever seen. I think his shot is silky smooth. I think he can create for himself. I really think if he put his all into it, he can create just as well for others and be the ultimate point guard instead of just a scoring machine that he is. But when you have two of the most prolific scorers of all time, a Kyrie Irving and a Kevin Durant on one team, you should expect more than just an early round exit, first round exit. And that's not why, and that's probably the reason why they went out to try to get James Harden. So I think if Ben Simmons can play and bring what he brings to the table, because he could be an ultimate wing defender, as well as somebody who could take some of the pressure off Kyrie as far as handling the basketball, even though he's not going to be a person who can space the floor. That's not what they need him for. I think then Brooklyn will be damn near unstoppable. Once those three can play together in jail, I think that's going to be something that's very scary. But if Ben Simmons cannot play for them and they cannot get past the first round, put in the comments if you think that is a tarnish on Kevin Durant's legacy. I'm just telling y'all how I feel, because, you know, Boston, like I said, had those same players that LeBron went against in 2018 Eastern Conference Finals, which that was, what, 4 years ago. And he was able to propel his team, even like I said, in the absence of a Kevin Love in that Game 7 due to concussion protocol, was still able to propel his team past this Boston Celtics team. And that was without the likes of a Kyrie. So now, Kevin Durant, you have Kyrie on your side. What are you going to do with it? Now, I don't expect him to come out and have another performance like he had again. I would expect him to come in, focus, and have that assassin mentality, because we all know if Kevin Durant heats up and gets it going, we're not going to expect to see a 9 out of 24 performance from him. But Kyrie is still going to have to give you the same performance he gave you. And in order for them to win and beat Boston, whose defense is great, then both of them are going to have to have great performances, or you're going to have a role player really step up. And I think they have role players who are capable of stepping up. When you talk about a Patty Mills, who has playoff and championship experience, and has a deadly outside shot if he gets it going. And then you got Seth Curry, who can also get it going from the outside as well. So with all that being said, y'all, I'm really looking forward to this series. Now, also, the Memphis and the Minnesota series, that's something that I'm very much looking forward to. That was a great game, and only in Memphis, y'all. Like I said, only in Memphis. The audio gets messed up. You got fans coming out throwing confetti or cards all on the floor. You got some lady chaining herself to the damn goal post. You know what I'm saying? That's M-Town for you. But that series is definitely, I think, going to go 7 games. But even before that series started, I was kind of agreeing with what Charles Barkley was saying, that Minnesota, they match up well against them only because they're the same type team. They don't play a lot from the outside. They're more of an inside-out team, which is not normal in today's league. But also you have a Cat Williams. I don't know why I say Cat Williams. Y'all know what I'm talking about. A Karl Anthony Towns. Cat! Who can stretch the floor and play outside as well. And then we saw what Anthony Edwards was capable of doing. Ja Morant is not going to have to put this team on his back. We all know what the Grizzlies were capable of doing throughout the regular season, what their record was without Ja Morant. But like I say so many times before, this is the playoffs, and you're not playing different teams night in and night out. So who give a damn about your record? You playing the same team. And that same team is going to be locked in and focused. Now, what happened was Minnesota got made fun of for celebrating so hard, and they came in ready, focused. And I think the Grizzlies was off their game because of the layoff that they had, and not being in that, used to being in that position of being such a high seed and having these expectations. And not only that, basketball players are creatures of habit. And then you talk about having to play a Saturday afternoon game for Memphis. I think that got them a little bit out of that game as well. So I would expect for Bane to have a better game. I would expect for him to hit a lot more threes and step up and be able to do what he can do. I would think Jared Jackson Jr. is going to stay out of foul trouble. That's what he really has to mainly focus on, is staying out of foul trouble, which I think that will not be an issue for him. And I think Memphis Grizzlies can still pull this off. I would like to see them pull it off. I think as far as the Utah series, I think Utah is going to win that series because of the health of Luka. Doncic is going to be out. I just don't see him recovering from that calf injury in time enough to come back and be well enough to be able to propel his team to victory, and that's unfortunate. And of course, Golden State, they looking mighty good, and I think Golden State is going to take care of business as well against Denver. And then ultimately, I don't know, everybody's picking Phoenix, but for some reason I got a feeling that Steph Curry wants to tie LeBron James for that 4th ring. And I think Klay Thompson, who's been out the playoffs for a long time, got some things to prove, and you still got that core 3. And you add a Jordan Poole to the mix. I think they can definitely, they had the championship coaching that it needs to be able to prepare themselves. I still like Phoenix's defense and what they are capable of doing, and Aiden and Chris Paul and, you know, and company. I just feel like Golden State, I don't know. It's going to be a good one. But if you had to ask me right now, I was picking originally Golden State and Brooklyn, because Brooklyn with Kevin Durant, I just feel like if they can focus and play the way they're capable of playing, and I know it's team basketball, and that's what I'm saying. One player can't do it all on his own. So to me, it's not a failure if Kevin Durant and Brooklyn Nets don't win, because right now the Celtics are just playing better team basketball. You know, the Celtics are just playing better team basketball, and team play is going to be individual play every time. The teams that pass the ball, share the ball, get players open, is always going to be one-on-one basketball. But at the end of the day, There's a lot more basketball left to be played, a lot more games to talk about. And of course, I will be back tomorrow just so we can talk about some more. We got games going on tonight. We're going to have the full breakdown of them. And did y'all notice? I want y'all to notice the very first play-in game, because I know it's been a few days since I did a video. I've been traveling. I had a lot of things I had to do. But your boy picked the final score right and both of the bets right. You understand what I'm saying? So I hope you went with what I said. I've been winning my money on FanDuel and everything else. So y'all stick with me. And then later on today, I'm going to come back because I didn't even get a chance to look at any spreads today. So maybe I'll do that later on this evening, not tomorrow. So as always, it's your boy B New. I just want to say right on to the real and much love to the haters. I'm out.